Welcome everybody back to the Spinner Rack today. I'm here with my boys, Cal and Petey.
Wow, he put some thought into it, and you can see how it processed at the same time. How this processing was, the thing you hear the dial-up happen in his head, Cal and Petey, and that's how he got it all out.
Yes. Joker is blowing up. I mean, it's out the box. It's done over $600 million right now. What the hell is happening?
And the cost was only the talent involved.
Yes.
Because it wasn't this,
I mean, there were no set pieces.
So the question is how...
Look, they just had they had like what is it, like one of those old JVC cameras to follow them around?
Is it something...
Cloverfield.
Is it something in...
Without the special effects.
Is it something here that's happening in is something that's happening in the U.S. or is it something that's happening worldwide? What's going on with Joker? How come people are accepting this Joker? Is there... Look,
people believe in that old 80s, armchair psychology that you kick somebody's cat, they can go kill somebody, right? That's what's going on here.
Hey, it worked for the Killing Joke.
There it is.
Which one? You talking about the book or you talking about the anime?
There's only one book.
Right, but it had an animation, the animated video.
The animation we will not speak of. The less said about the animation, the better.
Joker right now has made worldwide $620 million.
How much did it cost?
Like 19?
I think it's under $55 million.
Wow.
Not counting the marketing cost.
Well, that's where DC's going. They're like, hey, here's the money.
But they promised that it wouldn't be part of the whole thing. But the question is that we need to really look at is that, look, worldwide it's made gross more than in the U.S. In the U.S. it's made $226 million. Worldwide, $392 million. And when you combine everything, it's over 600.
You got a couple of things working for you over here that I don't think the audience may know. One, I think a lot of the audience believe this is an origin story. Origin stories are not hard to bring people into. That's one. Two, many people believe this is the origin story for Heath Ledger's Joker. Okay. Which a lot of people would be interested in seeing. You do have a good choice in Joaquin Phoenix, okay, who is a respected actor, and people would like to see what he turns out. Okay. So you have those things actually going for it. Now, the biggest thing, however, is this is loosely, this is a psychological drama. This is not a superhero movie. This is a psychological drama. You could have done this, literally, you could have called this Catman. Okay, and at the end of the day, he could dress up like Cat and just decides to kill people, and this is how it becomes a villain. This is not the Joker.
Yeah.
Okay, this far from it at the end of the day, but everybody gets to see it. Okay, see the breakdown of this particular character. We could have called this A Streetcar Named the Joker, and it would have been the same thing. The person already has a fractured mind state, and then they're just pushed over. They're pushed over the edge. You got there are some nice comic bits. There's a Dark Knight Returns comic bit, with the Dark Knight Returns #3, the Joker and the audience, or at least they tried to do. At least they tried to do it.
That was the point where I was saying this could give us, even though we have all of the Death Wish and Miss 45 subject matter and the Bernie Getz sort of thing. But when you got to that scene where he kisses the doctor and you're like, all right, we're going to get the Joker now. We're going to get this big thing. And then he starts crying in the seats and he does what he does. So it wasn't that big a scene. It wasn't theatrical.
No.
It kind of started and it was getting there and it felt like when he came out he's going to be in all his power, but then he started crying on the couch and it fell apart.
But I thought, what about when he was on I digress a bit, when he was on the stage, when he was being shot in the show now?
I'm saying when he walks out,
yeah,
that's when you had the moment. Then when he sits down, he's not good.
Right, okay.
He's not a strong performer. He should see the same with they're borrowing a lot from the King of Comedy too. And it's like Rupert Pupkin, when he gets on stage, he owns the stage because this is the moment that he's been waiting for. This is this is like the Jenny Jones moment when the girls act like I was the ugly duckling and now I'm pretty, and they pull out that guy that dissed her, but she don't have anything behind it, and she gets played out again. He's supposed to be in his strength.
What a reference, Jenny Jones. I haven't heard that one in a long time.
Everything
Holy
outside
crap.
of the connection to Precious, whereas Precious has every scene in here,
Oh, not the Precious analogy. Look, I have to totally disagree with you guys, especially you, in terms of what you think why this movie became successful. I'll tell you why it became successful.
Because it's Death Wish.
No, it is the Joker, and Joker has name recognition. people recognize the name. There's been how many Batman movies?
How's that different from what I said?
It's big difference because you're saying because
It's
it's
an origin
death.
story.
You said death wish
a
and
lot of
stuff
people
like
think it's
that.
the origin of Heath
Yeah, but-
Ledger's Joker.
So you disagree with that?
You know what? I'll modify and say it's partial. But what I'm trying to say is that we're talking about how the character, and I think this is how it plays. Like when you had like Black Panther and Wonder Woman, those overseas sales weren't quite as high because their name recognition.
What are you talking
Hold
about?
on, can I
Panther?
finish
Let's
what
go
I'm
to
saying?
the
Can I
thing,
finish what I'm
'cause,
saying?
Like, you're saying that the
Can I
U.S.
finish
is
what-
bigger than.
If another
no.
phone comes out, I'm going to go back to playing Gardenscapes.
Can I say another
not
thing?
going
What I'm
nowhere.
trying to say is that the name recognition internationally of the Joker is higher than it was of Black Panther or Wonder Woman. And therefore, you've had an audience who've grown up on Batman, know about the Joker, and therefore came out. I don't think this movie, after viewing it, is the end-all and be-all that they're making it out to be. You know, this would not have been what I would have thought is the origin film for a thing. Like you said, this could have been, if there was any other title, if they called it Death Wish 5, if they would have called it Falling Down 7, if they would have called it Rambo or whatever,
Precious 2?
Precious Lord.
it wouldn't have been as successful. You know, I don't care. Joaquin
Yeah, I
Phoenix has
gotta
been
disagree.
Joaquin Phoenix has
I
been
don't
in a ton of films, and they have not been successful because they've
Well, I
been
don't
art
know
house.
what is your point
My
here?
point is
It
because
didn't do as much as the Black Panther
I'm saying
overseas.
no, but I'm just saying that
How is that possible? Since the Black Panther was like $1 billion film, didn't it do $1 billion?
it did like 700 million in U.S. and then I think it made like 1.2, and it did. The rest was overseas. The majority. We're looking in terms of percentages. The percentage is doing more
Let's
percent.
see.
No, we're not
playing
looking
with
in
the
terms.
numbers.
But I'm
You're
not-
looking in
You're
terms of
playing
this
with
whole
the
thing.
numbers,
I'm not
man.
playing with the numbers, bro.
Yes, you are.
Don't start with me again.
Look, okay,
okay?
I'm gonna agree with you slightly that the Joker, I believe,
I'm
does have
pulling
more
out my
rec-
knife again.
The Joker
okay? You know I'm
should
from
have.
Brooklyn. Don't mess with me, bro.
I started off. Well, you started off cutting before you busting. You're from Brooklyn. Okay, got it.
Brooklyn? You haven't been from Brooklyn in years. There's only one
Well,
person
no,
here
back-
from Brooklyn.
Back when he was
okay?
from Brooklyn, they used to.
Don't get it
knives,
twisted.
So
So that being
he
said,
goes back to the Warriors sort of gangs, because that's when they used to use knives.
so we roller skates in a baseball
Here
match.
we go. He got a little vest, a leather vest. He had he had a conch also. So
You know what?
You got 3 bottles laying around.
I learned from
Chink,
I learned
chink.
from a very wise man. You don't give someone ammunition, and I just gave you ammunition. You know, I don't want to say
Then
who
you
the
didn't
one.
learn from the wise man. Anyway,
Well, it's
that
hard to
being
learn
said-
from the wise man when the wise man is dissing you himself. You know what I'm trying to say? So,
I'm going to agree that the Joker should does and should have more name recognition than the Black Panther. There is also, very quizzically, because I don't understand it myself, an extremely healthy appetite for superhero films. Aquaman did $1 billion. Nobody can explain that to me. That makes no sense.
Jason Momoa.
Hey, I don't care if he promoted this thing and he had $1 billion to me still does not make any sense for this particular film. This is still a guy who I'm looking at. Did he have that type of? I mean, you did the promotion, great, but overseas, everything it just didn't make it did not make any sense other than the fact that you still have a very healthy appetite for superhero films. You now have this one, and it was already being promoted. It was not being promoted as, action-packed or anything. This was going to be an intelligent, Oscar-worthy superhero film, and Joaquin Phoenix was going to be in there, and the Joker and everything. So, of course, you get a culmination of all those things, and I'm happy for DC. I'm very happy for DC and Warner Brothers that this was successful. However, I also know that these guys tend to have the wrong outlook. They're like, this is where the money is. We put out how much? 50 million and made 60. Okay, everything's going to do this. We're going to have Luthor now. We're going to have Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Okay, and then who else can we do? Who else can we do? That type of nonsense that comes across. Because at the end of the day, as much as this may be a success, it doesn't help their films overall because this is a standalone film. It doesn't connect
Not
to
anymore.
anything. It's a standalone film.
Not
It doesn't
anymore.
connect. What do you mean, not anymore?
It's
What-
not. They're gonna make this. This is gonna be.
But he's going to be crying.
How?
He's not going to be like Heath Ledger. He's
How?
going to be.
They're gonna be. I don't know how.
You've
they're
already
gonna
had 3 different Jokers. How is this guy? The Joker in The Dark Knight didn't die. Okay, you still have the one Jared Leto did, who's actually the most current, and then you have this one. It's impossible unless you're gonna have a film called 3 Jokers. It's just you can't do it.
Let's do it. Well, no,
3 Jokers. Let's go for that one.
I'm going to go to a comment I heard from Neil Brennan's podcast, the co-creator of the Chappelle Show, because he was talking about it, and they go through random topics, and he was very critical of.
Oh, the show with him and the chick?
Yes. So he says on there, the Joker stunk. It was boring and it was heavy-handed. Every music cue was a dud, especially the sending the clowns point. But the biggest point is that his co-star This is Binky. She says that I liked it. I didn't know anything about the Joker going before, but this is sort of the art film of the superhero movies. And Neil Brennan says, no, that's the Nolan films. So don't forget that Nolan did the serious take on the superheroes and did some of the stuff you see, but he did a big and had a theatrical movie-worthy thing. So we can't give it a pass. We're saying, well, this is more of like the Death Wish, because even Death Wish has a bigger scope to it. Even if you go Miss 45, it's just if anyone knows Miss 45, which is a vigilante story, and it had the real New York. It had some really grit to it, and something happens to her that's terrible. And it leads her to the next stage, which a lot of films are copying. But as being a real film, instead of crying about it, these people have their power when they become the vigilante, just like Bernie gets whether you consider him wrong and right or what he did. This person is taking it and having power. What's the name? It's just a basic revenge film. So, but they somehow connected with the audience, and a lot of people like. But I just wanted to say, remember that point that the Nolan films, what? What are you saying?
He's correct. A lot of people look. What
is your disagreement?
What is the
hold on, let me finish this thought. Let me see where this thought goes. I just want to hear this last part.
What? I don't even know. I'm just saying that the Nolan films are the art films. It was almost the end-all be-all of that. So when you go here and you pull out all of the theatrical, when Joaquin Phoenix can do the theatrics, and the theatrics is his people, his movement created the mass hysteria rather than him. And it's like they heard it on the news, and the news sort of propelled it into this big thing, and they're like, oh, he didn't even have the costume. They just hear about a clown killing these yuppies, and everyone is so happy about
and that
it.
resonates, and I think
How does it?
hold on, you know what? Right now, there's a lot of protests going around the world. Right now, you have protests in China, in Hong Kong. You have protests in Mexico. You have protests in Chile. People are. You have that whole. What was that Take Back New York they had a couple of years ago? People are resonating around and that one I got to say about the movie where they're talking about the rich are basically running things and taking over things, and those who are poor are powerless to do anything. So
that's never happened before.
Right, it's never happened. But I'm saying it's clearly resonated with some of the people who watched it, and in some of our interviews in the con, some people did say this is the type of thing that was very interesting to us that made us feel it was new and fresh. But in terms of, for me, when you stack this movie,
stupid. They're sitting in
no,
a
no,
film
no, we
made by rich people.
We don't diss
talking, and the rich people are giving them this particular. They're giving them this bone, and they're coming over here like, oh yeah,
no, because you have liberals who are rich too. Okay, there are rich billionaires who are liberal and understand people.
They made this film to pacify the poor people, and they ate it up.
Okay, look, the point I'm trying to make is,
you're stupid.
I don't know if there's anything we can say after that one.
But what I'm trying to say is that when I look at this, when you stack this movie against Nolan's Batman, when you're dealing against the Batman with what's his name again? The original Batman with
Batman 66. Tim Burton.
Tim Burton's Batman. When you stack this up against
Schumacher.
When you stack this up against Batman versus Superman and Justice League, how does it fare? And it doesn't to me. Aquaman and Wonder Woman, it doesn't compete. Exactly.
Justice League is way better. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, I have to say that
I would
too.
say it's more entertaining, and the fact is it's more entertaining, and that to me was the problem. I couldn't get into this movie because it was entertaining. They want to do an art house film. You know what? Go back to art house school #1 and do those boring movies, because if that's the purpose of this is boring as hell. Okay.
DC is in the point now where, look, these guys started their films for all the wrong reasons. It all started with Man of Steel. Man of Steel got out there. Why? Because the judge said, if you don't make a film, we're going to give the rights back to the creator. So like, hey, we got to have a Superman. This time it's for the money. So that was their film. They did Man of Steel. That sucked. They didn't learn from that. Okay, they said, hey, look at what Marvel, these guys are going over here with these second-tier characters, and they're making $1 billion. We got to do these with our characters. We got Batman v Superman. That didn't suck. That was an implosion at that point. Then you got
but they all made money.
That was the problem. They all made money, and again, that's why I'm coming. That's why I'm coming back. That's why I'm coming back with even Justice League. Okay, Justice League again. People say it underperformed, but underperforming for me, okay,
still made a lot of money.
Is where, hey, like, okay, we just made like like $10 over or something. These guys still made hundreds of $millions over what they
That's
spent
what I've
on
been
it.
trying to say in the show forever. Yes,
Yeah, so
it still makes money, but
The
people act
appetite
like
for
a failure,
for superhero movies, because as bad as
Are you saying
everybody
something
said,
about me? Are you talking?
No,
you make
I'm
a
not.
point of jive at me?
No, we're at a different benchmark. Everyone goes to the benchmark of. You don't know which side you don't.
as bad
You
as
just
everybody
another
thought.
jive. Yo, what
You
the?
walked into it.
Okay,
Who
you know.
pulls out their knife and they're like, "Oh, not this side. It's on this side." It's like either.
Either you know or you don't. Look, as
Like,
bad as everybody thought the films
I just throw the table over and get out of here.
As bad as everybody thought the films were, they kept going to see them. Okay, Batman v Superman supposedly was horrible. People still kept going to see it until the Jungle Book came out. Suicide Squad was supposedly bad. There was nothing else out. People went to go see it. So now, I'm saying there's a healthy appetite for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't
There's
care
clearly
how
a
much-
market. There's clearly a market.
I don't care how much Jason Momoa promoted this thing and how good everybody felt about it and how many pictures he took of him pushing the boyfriend away and hugging the girlfriend. $1 billion makes no damn sense for the Aquaman movie. It just
Okay, yo,
doesn't.
I'm not going to take this hit job on Jason Momoa. We went to the cons. We saw
It's
Jason.
not a hit,
We
man.
saw
It's not
how
a hit.
people. We
We
saw how
had
people came.
Amber Heard.
He came her. Amber
We had
Heard.
Nicole Kidman in it.
We had Black Mantis.
Even though it was a little bit big budget Tromaville with the costumes, the Brotherhood thing, even though it borrowed a lot from Karate Kid 2 with the drum technique,
Yep.
it was, and no, the thing that really always gets me is the big, well, this is totally off topic because we're not interested in the Joker.
Yep.
But when he goes against a big Leviathan, the Godzilla, and everyone has failed, and what does he do? The thing that people joke about.
He talks to it.
He talks to it, and they say no one has ever tried to do that, and he hasn't. That's why he's the king of the sea.
Yeah.
And they showed that he was important. That's the other thing. Despite all the bells and whistles and all the cool shiny lights, him as a character, the core was there.
Yes.
And I'm surprised that people were able to see that and go and still go there. I was surprised it worked. I'm
It
totally
worked?
surprised. I'm totally in agreement.
Yeah, worked to $1 billion. I'm assuming. Oh!
That is
But
sitting back
getting
and
back to the
chilling.
Joker.
There's no
Comparing
getting
it-
back,
but
we're
get-
done.
I'm saying getting
I was
back to
still
the
trying to
Joker.
make this point.
Yeah. I'm
And you guys still keep going off the deep end with knives in the back in the wrong pocket.
We
Okay.
got bigger things.
Look,
we got China to talk about.
It's
We got
No, we're not talking about China.
Yes, we
you're the one who
do.
brought up all this stuff about people protesting.
I'm
Now
just
you
saying
wanna
people are
talk about China.
protesting. I'm
We
saying,
got
but we're not
China to
talking
talk
about China,
about.
though.
We
We're not.
talk about China.
We're not talking
The
about
Joker's
LeBron. We're not talking
benefiting.
about
The
China.
Joker's benefiting very well from a healthy appetite for superhero films. The promotion that this was supposedly going to be a different, the Nolan films. Nobody remembers that stuff anymore. That's so 2 years ago. Nobody remembers that stuff, or how the Dark Knight. Everybody was like, "Wow, superhero film is actually Oscar worthy." That was a big deal. So nobody remembers that any longer. And they're approaching this right over here. And also, what on that Neil show you were talking about? What's the name of the? What's her-
Highfield Neil?
Yeah, what's the name of his co-host, the girl?
Bianca Sai. They call her Binky.
Yeah, Bianca Side. She is the person that they want in that movie theater. I don't really know too much about the Joker coming in, and for them, okay, especially the superhero people, I like superheroes, and they're trying to initiate yourself. To the uninitiated, you just sat through the origin of the Joker, and now you understand the character, and you can go out and speak competently about the Joker, even though you can't, because this is not the Joker. Okay, so you got people sitting there, and it works on all of those levels. But what you said right over there, yes. At the end of the day, when he's there and he's supposed to be fully the Joker and everything, and he has this collapse, this is not the Joker.
Yeah.
The Joker, okay, is a guy who, for whatever reason, was the Red Hood, okay, got into Batman's crosshairs, fell into a vat, came out, had chalk white skin, ruby red lips, emerald green hair, and was out of his mind.
Yes.
Out of his mind. And the reason was he would come up with these particular scenarios. When you look and you say, this is some ridiculous stuff. I can't take this guy seriously. But if you didn't take him seriously, you were dead. He'd give you a cigar, and you didn't know if the cigar was going to say bang or kill you. He'd come over here, and before you know it, he had nicked you over here. You're like, what's this? And before you know it, now you're immobilized, you're drooling, and you wonder if you're going to drown in your own spit. That's the Joker from the comic. This guy over here in this film, again, you could have called this the crying man, and that would have been fine. It would have still been okay.
And the thing with the Joker though is that at least it wasn't complete madness without some reason behind it. Here, look,
Reason? Joker doesn't need a reason.
he doesn't have a reason. Look,
Yeah,
we're not even gonna get that. So
Well,
overall, guys, so what are we saying?
We're saying that this
We're
was.
saying that the Joker made money and we really don't care.
and we don't understand how.
We do understand. We just said, since obviously you have the lay people saying, I want to understand why this person is how he is, and they'll take the basic 80s sort of psychology, saying the Death Wish or Miss 45
and the
Bernie
power
Getz.
and the power of the DC brand.
Even though the Precious
That's what
went
it
through
is.
the same sort of things as the Joker, and
And
still
they make
rose above it.
anywhere near as much money as that.
You've got the best. You've got the best business sense. So now you have. Okay, you've got 4 films that have all been successful with you. And probably the only one that you probably wish was more successful was Shazam. You've had Wonder Woman. Okay. You've had Aquaman. You've had the Joker. Okay. You've now seen. Okay, I don't necessarily need to lean on Batman. Okay, that can come out. That's going to be 2021. That can come out, and I still got some other stuff going down the pike. What's your next move? Okay, pretty much everything that's done well for you has been a standalone film. Wonder Woman, standalone.
That's a
Aquaman,
good point.
standalone.
Yeah,
Joker,
this is
standalone. What are you going to do? Because the real money is not in these standalone films that you're doing. That's the old Warner Brothers method, because all those Superman films were standalone. Okay, and you didn't even mind him well enough. The same villains in each. The same villain keeps coming back. It's either Lex Luthor or General Zod for the most part.
Right.
Doomsday. Okay, what do you do in order to push forward? And
Well, before we end, we have to say there's something come out on darkhorizons.com. Leto tried to stop Joker from being made.
Can you blame him? Leto wanted to do his own
well,
movie.
yeah,
Leto
you know
wanted
what?
to do his own
You're
movie.
right.
He wanted to do his own
It's
movie,
totally
and they
makes
kept
sense.
on sidelining it. He said he went out. He said he liked doing the Joker. He would do a Joker movie if they wanted him. And he said they even did a whole thing with, was it Zack Snyder, I think, or something like that? Whoever the director of the Suicide Squad, they went through that. They had like some sketching of a plan for him, and they never did it. And so,
you know
Brandon
why?
Routh, the same thing happened with him.
you know why? They X'd the whole thing because at some point they deemed, okay, this is toxic. The Harley Quinn, yeah, bring her, okay? That's fine. We'll bring the girl. You know, everybody loves the girl, but everything else, no, we're not doing anything else with that at the end of the day. It's the
No,
same
but-
reason why you're not going to see Henry Cavill anymore. They thought Man of Steel was toxic after the first film. That's why they threw Batman into the second one. And then the same thing. They looked at that film and said, okay, bring the girl. Wonder Woman, yeah, everybody loved her. Bring the girl. These other 2 guys, no. You know, we're going to be done with it. And they were probably up there on the toilet, like sweating it out, like Batman's not selling. What the are we doing wrong? You know, along that line.